Hello, everybody. It is super early here in Costa Rica. It's like not even 8 in the morning. The birds are chirping. The mountain air is so crisp. And we wanted to share this moment with you. And we wanted to come in with an update, just with some clarity of everything that's going on the world stage, everything that's going on the planet. The energetics of the planet seems very unstable right now, and we've been expecting this for a while. But before we go any further, let us just take a moment to get present. Just get present to this moment. Tuning into the peace. Tuning into the simplicity. And taking deep breaths, filling your abdomen with fresh life force, oxygenating your blood, your veins, and just letting go of what no longer serves you, letting go of the stress, of the confusion, letting go of the fear, letting go of the paranoia. Just let it go. Letting go of the illusion. And just taking a moment to connect with your inner gratitude. Gratitude for everything that surrounds you now. It could be your family. It could be your knowingness that you're on the ascension path. It could be gratitude for your creator, for the universe that has your back. Gratitude for your guides that are with you always, guiding you, steering you, cheering you, uplifting you, encouraging you. We are surrounded by so much magic, so much hidden, invisible magic around us always. So tuning into that realm of magic, where life is so simple, where life is so blissful. And taking a moment to thank your body, thank your spirit. You've come such a long way to this pivotal moment in history. So just taking a moment to bask in gratitude. And noticing how you feel now, just compared to 3 minutes ago when we started this video. Do you feel more clarity? Do you feel more peace? Do you feel more present? And reminding yourself just how easy it is to tap into these feelings. How quick it is to tap into these feelings. And on your next exhalation, gently opening your eyes as we bring you our update for today.
Hello everyone, it's so good to connect with you all again. We just wanted to make a quick update to discuss the current events that are taking place on our planet right now, as things seem to be going crazy and people are losing their footing, people are glued to their TV sets. What's gonna happen? Who's gonna win? What's gonna happen? Are we still in the ascension timeline, or is the darkness taking over? So we just wanted to anchor ourselves back into our divinity, because when we're anchored in our divinity and we take a step back from the daily world events, we realize how simple life actually is, right? A wise man once said that there are millions of species living on planet Earth, but only one of them makes such a big deal about life and makes it so complicated. All the animals, all the plants, all the insects, they live in harmony every day. They get their food, they love each other, they live in harmony, and they go to sleep, they reproduce. But human beings have made it so complicated, and it doesn't need to be. We're going back to harmony with ourselves, harmony with nature, harmony with all that is. And right now on the planet, what's actually happening is that we're seeing chaos everywhere, right? But is that really a bad thing? Is that really a bad thing? We need to ask ourselves, what's actually happening on our planet right now? The chaos that we're seeing is just a reflection of the madness that has always existed. It's nothing new. That's what we need to remind ourselves. It's not that life was normal until now and suddenly in 2020 everything went haywire. That's not the case. It's actually the opposite. We've been living in a madhouse for the last 25,000 years. We've been living in survival mode. We've been living in oppression and tyranny. And that tyranny has been masked. We've been always masked. We've been always, there's always been this kind of blanket over our eyes or blindfold over our eyes. We've been living in a dream state where we've been told everything's normal, go back to the way you, go back to your life, everything's fine, go back to sleep, we got this. And the people who've been telling us these lies to put us back to sleep, they're the ones who are controlling everything behind the scenes, and they needed us to be in a sleeping state in order to accept their programming that everything's okay. But now, what's happening for the first time in the history of our planet is that humanity is waking up. That's the only thing that's changed from before. Because humanity is waking up, suddenly we're seeing things have not been okay the way they've been working. We've been realizing that we've been deceived by the very powers that we entrusted to lead us, to support us, to take care of our infrastructure, to take care of our health, to take care of our well-being, to take care of our economy. But what's been happening behind the scenes is a completely different picture. And humanity in millions and millions in masses are awakening right now and realizing that there's something wrong with the picture, and we've been sleeping at the wheel. We're equally responsible for all of the mess that's been created on the planet. So now we have to do something about it. And the ones that are awakening right now are the ones who chose to volunteer to come to planet Earth, to assist humanity into taking the next step in our consciousness, in the journey of our evolution. So the ones who are tuning into these messages are the starseeds, are the light workers, are the way showers. And we came from many parts of the galaxy. We heard the call of humanity. And we came from many parts of the galaxy to assist humanity, because humanity on their own had gone so deep in this dream state, so deep in this darkness, that an outside force was needed. An outside force of millions of souls who are still connected to their God consciousness. And that's us. That's what we signed up for. And that's no easy task, my friends. It takes so much courage, even from millions of us, to take humanity out of this dream state and help them remember who they are. Because we not only had to leave our heavenly abodes, we not only had to leave our higher dimensions of bliss, but we also incarnated in these fragile bodies. We also chose to take on the karma of humanity by coming into these bodies, into these frail bodies. We also took on so much pain. We went through so many lifetimes of training to be able to live on planet Earth, that we had to go through all the pain and suffering of humanity in order to come to their level of consciousness. And only once we lower our vibration to their level of consciousness, which is this is one of the darkest planets in the universe, so that's no understatement. We had to lower our vibration from a very high godlike state to a very dense, as we can possibly imagine. And from that state, we had to remind ourselves who we are. We had to start remembering more of who we are. And we had to take the journey of our own awakening and ascend our bodies so that we once again carve the path for humanity. So when others look at our example, when others look at us awakening, when others see that we, even in the densest of realities, even in the harshest of existences, even when all the factors are pegged against us, even then we can rise up from this slavery. We can throw off our shackles, we can throw off our chains, and we can simply remember that we are the ones who decide our destiny, not the fictitious leaders that we've put in power. These are not our real leaders. They don't care about humanity. It's when we realize that we are the ones with the power of creating our reality, that's when the world gets back to its natural state. See, what's happened on our planet for thousands of years, for the last 25 to 50,000 years, is that the divine masculine, there's been a very sick masculine consciousness that has overtaken this planet, and has subdued the divine feminine because of its madness. Because this consciousness believes that the only way to expand itself, the only way to grow into its evolution, is by taking from others. So these are all service of self-consciousness, divine masculine oriented people. And I'm not saying this is only men. They're men and women both who have this uncontrolled masculine that is completely taken over them in this madness, and their only obsession is to control and take from others and to collect resources and to gain more and more power so that they can expand their reach. And they've done this on many planets. Earth is like their latest project. So right now Earth is the focal point of the entire universe, because what happens here sends reverberations in all the dimensions. And Earth is like the final battleground for this ancient story that's been playing out in our consciousness, the battle between the light and the dark. But you see, at the end of the day, when you look at things from the perspective of unity consciousness, there is no battle between the light and the dark. This is just the cosmic dance of our evolution. The dark is simply there to remind the light of who we are, right? The dark is simply there to remind us of the divine beings that we are. And every time they impose lockdowns, every time they impose, take away our freedoms, what happens? More and more people are waking up. More and more people are remembering who we are. So no matter what happens on the world stage right now, remember that there is an ascension taking place. If you look around you, you will see millions upon millions of people are waking up every year, and this is just going to keep on continuing, and we've gone past the point of no return.
I love that. And you know, as you were talking, I was even really thinking about how we've not just come to the planet in the most densest bodies, like in these dense bodies and these dense fragile times, but we have also incarnated in the densest families. How many of you are having these intense meltdowns, for lack of a better word, with your families? How many of you are having these crazy moments where your family doesn't get you? Sometimes they mock you, there's toxicity, or let's say you're awake and your family is completely asleep, and that's creating a rift. So all of this is happening for a reason. We have come here as starseeds to incarnate in these families and process the lineages, the family lineages of ancestral karma. We're processing on behalf of our families. We are remembering and processing not only of this for this lifetime, but for several lifetimes. And you know what I want to bring your attention back to? And this is going to make many of you laugh, hopefully. We are tuning in to the channels right now that are meant for the unconscious, asleep population. So many of you, just soak that in. Many of you are tuning in to stories of the news or stories of KLM flying in all these vaccines, or, oh my God, in my country, we're not allowed to have public weddings anymore. You're tuning into all these stories, right? these stories and these channels are not meant for you starseeds. They're not meant for you light workers. They're not meant for you way showers. These are meant, this is all part of the ascension, these are meant to awaken the sleeping masses. You've had your time 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 1 year ago, when you first came to know all of this. That was for the first wavers. That was for the people who are ready to awaken to a higher degree, to a higher blueprint, to a higher level of consciousness, because it's already within you. So right now, by you watching the news or by watching the mainstream narrative, whatever your mind is telling you, whatever your reasoning is, I say to you, you're watching the wrong channels. They're not meant for you. The channels that are meant for you are uplifting, so that you can uplift your consciousness, you can raise your frequency to really anchor that frequency to offset the confusion, offset the chaos, offset the sadness, offset the frustration. That is your job. That is what you're here to do. And one other thing is, there is a huge trap in the lightworker community, a huge trap. I see it all the time. The negative ego is very clever. The trap is, oh well, I watch the news or I watch mainstream media just enough so that I'm aware of what's going on, so that I can educate the masses, so that I can educate people, so that I can help unconscious people. My friends, this is the trap. You don't need to help anyone in that manner, because you're actually not very effective. You know, yesterday, there's a mountain behind us, and Siman has been talking to the spirit of the mountain since we got here. Yesterday, when we were talking to the mountain, you know what the spirit of the mountain, which is a very masculine, divine masculine spirit, shared with us with unconditional love? The spirit said humans think they're here to do great, like they think how did it come in? Like they're like flies. I don't know how to say that.
No, the exact message was that what we received from the spirit of the mountain was that humanity places so much importance on themselves, but they don't realize that humanity is irrelevant to the evolution of Earth. Earth will evolve regardless of whether humanity stays or not. And there have been many civilizations in the past that have been wiped off because they were not evolving. So that was the message.
Right.
Like, we can easily be discounted. We can be wiped off if humanity doesn't work. We're not the final play for planet Earth, and a new species will arise.
So if your ego is taking you on a path where it's tricking you, literally your ego is tricking you to say, all right, help them, go down and help them. I've always said to you, from the time I started my YouTube channel, our only job is to to keep up leveling, not go down and say, all right, let's pick more people, because there is a natural evolution hierarchy of the planet. There's a natural way these things happen. Our job is to keep up leveling our frequency, because that is what is most needed on the planet right now. When you're in your state of joy, giddy bliss, ecstasy, you're in harmony with nature, you're completely not even tuned to the craziness going around you, because those channels are not meant for you. They are not meant for you. They are meant to actually get the sleeping masses to say, hey, what the fuck is going on? Something doesn't seem right. We have to do something about it. We have to riot. That is not meant for people like you and me, my friends. And that is the main message, really. Stop looking at all the little distractions that we have placed in the system. These systems have been placed by us. This is happening for the ascension of the planet. So don't buy into these traps, because these distractions are not meant for you. Okay, so really soak that in. So what happens when you raise your vibration, instead of going down to help people and letting yourself be in the belief that, oh my God, I have to help more people, because what happens when you try to go and look at the news and try to help others, it lowers your vibration. So instead, the ask of the universe is to get so giddy in your own bubble of joy that ball of giddy, ecstatic, blissful, joyful, amazing energy creates a positive momentum ball. So let's say there's a few of us in the world that are in that momentum of bliss and ecstasy. We need that ball to grow. The negative ball is big enough. The energy of chaos is big enough on the planet. So really, really ask yourself in every moment of the day, every moment, this is a moment by moment thing. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on the negative ball of energy? Because if you're focusing on that, that will grow. Or are you focusing on the positive ball of energy and really self-reflecting on what do you need to do to get to the next level of your evolution? What do you need to do to get to the next level of your evolution? That is all. That is the forefront. Right now, that is the forefront. There is your higher self, your guides, they're all saying this is where your attention needs to be. So create your heaven on earth, because that is the service right now that you're doing, not only for yourself, but for all of humanity.
And that's a very, very important point that Eldora just raised. And I wanted to expand on that further and remind everyone that this is about your ascension. You're not here to help humanity ascend. You're here to ascend your own body, and by ascending your own body, you are doing the highest service that you can do for humanity. That is the only purpose. Everything else that we come up with from our mind, hey, let me see if my neighbor's awakening yet. Let me see if my mom gets spirituality yet. Let me tell my brothers about chakras. Maybe he'll wake up. These are all distractions of our own ego. You know why? Because these are all taking your focus away from your own ascension, from your own spirituality. And many people ask us often, they say, but how can we help others ascend? Everywhere I look around, I still see people who are buying the mainstream narrative. I don't see enough of humanity awakening. And the trap of the ego is that if I don't assist humanity to awaken, then I will be doomed. Because I want to ascend, I need everyone else to ascend with me, otherwise I'm doomed. But that's the whole false narrative that your ego has concocted. Your only job in this lifetime and in eternity as a soul is to focus on your own journey. You're not here to focus on anybody else. You're in your own bubble. You meet many people along the way who may share similar experiences with you, and you may learn from each other in a harmonious way. When both parties are on the same frequency, they help raise each other up. But if you're stopping your own evolution to start looking backwards as who else is coming with me, can I drag my parents on my shoulders? Can I drag my friends on my shoulders and take them into this ascension? That's the trap. So focus back on your journey forward, and only focus on raising your vibration. That's how we ascend. And right now, what's unfolding...
And I actually want to add one more thing there.
Yeah.
So when you're doing that, you're actually helping the ascension. When you're focused more on yourself and not on everyone else, not on your parents, because your parents may not have a soul contract to ascend in this lifetime. Your children may not have a soul contract to ascend in this lifetime. So they have their guides working for them. So don't let your ego make you believe that you are responsible for everyone. That is your ego making you go out of whack, because you actually are not. You can't do jack shit for others. You can only do jack shit for yourself.
Only
like literally.
Spirit can help awaken others.
Exactly.
You cannot teach awakening to others.
Exactly.
You cannot teach spirituality. It has to come from a soul. When their soul contract is ready, then they will simply awaken. And then nothing can stop that awakening.
Exactly.
Once you awaken, you can choose to go back into a 3D consciousness, but that seed that has been planted in your mind, that can never be taken away from you. So once you awaken, you're on a one-way road. And right now we're in for a very massive event. That's what all this hoopla is about. The whole world is going berserk right now, especially the ones who are not in alignment with the ascension. They're going berserk right now because we're approaching a major solar event, which is going to take place on December 21st. And the dark ones who are in power, they know this. They know that after such a tipping point, there's no going back, and humanity will wake up in masses. Humanity will wake up in droves. And they already see that so much of humanity has awakened that everything they do backfires. So this is nothing new. The forced vaccinations and all these lockdowns, this has been happening to us since March. But if we just,
This has been happening forever.
it's been happening for the longest time that we can remember. But if we look back, if we turn off our televisions and look factually at all the things that have taken place since last year, since the beginning of this year, since these lockdowns and all these false narratives to put fear into society, since all of this started, what's been happening? People have been rejecting the official narrative. People have been waking up. People have been protesting. The media doesn't cover that there were 5 million people protesting in Germany. They don't cover how many people are awakening. Why don't they tell about the mass awakening that's happening? Millions and millions of people. And because these people are now waking up in their consciousness, the lies and the deceits are being exposed. So everything that the dark ones do in their desperation to save face is backfiring on them. So you can take that to the bank. It's going to continue to backfire. It's going to continue to expose their false narratives and stories.
That is by design.
And there's no going back, folks. Whoever is in charge of the planet, it does not matter. God is in charge. You cannot trump God's plan.
Yes.
We're unfolding God's plan, and this plan has been written ages ago. Earth is now moving into a part of the galaxy where we are entering a phase of the galaxy known as the photonic belt. And what this means is that in this photonic belt, the intensity of the gamma wave energies that we are receiving from the great central sun are so strong and so immense that everything has no choice but to shift and evolve. So what that means on a greater level, on a cosmic level, is that we, until now, we had a soul contract to learn lessons from duality, from dark and light. But now we've come to a point where those lessons are just, they're not serving their purpose anymore. We've learned everything that we needed to evolve until this point from the lessons that duality had to teach us. Now the pain and suffering of duality is going to a point where we're not gaining anything from it. So a divine decree was made from source, from the universe, that we are wrapping up this grand experiment of duality on planet Earth, and we are moving into a new age where we are now going to learn about soul lessons on a higher plane of existence, from a fifth dimensional unity consciousness level of existence. So we are wrapping up this old game of duality, and we're raising into the next paradigm of oneness, where we learn how to live in harmony with nature, where we learn how to live in harmony with each other. So this is going to be a very exciting phase of our planet, of our ascension.
And this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, we feel like, oh my God, we're 40 years old or 50 years old, and my goodness, how much more do we have to, we don't have much time to enjoy. It's it's the opposite of that, actually. Everything that we've done so far, like all your incarnations in pain, all your incarnations in misery, being hung on the cross, all your interactions with humanity, including your own family, including your own friends, have just been to prepare you to this point in time. You have all you have all your ammo in your pockets. You have the tools, you have the mastery, you have everything. And now, based on what's rolling out on the planet right now, over the next 2 years, over the next 5 years, over the next 10 years, is of such high magnitude. The whole landscape of Earth is going to change. And you're being prepared for this point because of the role you have to play in this. And that role, you're doing that role a disservice by focusing on narratives that are not meant for you. I see all of my awakened friends do this. Like, I literally have a friend who's in Australia who sent me a message, and I have a dear sister in Australia. A few weeks ago, she sent me a message saying, it was a very stressful message because she has her own podcast or she has her own YouTube channel. And I said, you don't even owe that to your YouTube channel, because you can't do anything if you're basking in that frustration, if you're basking in that negativity or that toxicity or that feeling of fear. Instead, if you just keep raising your vibration. So basically the trap is, I owe my YouTube following more details on these topics. No, you don't. Instead, what you do is raise your vibration, and that higher vibration will transmit a frequency to your YouTube followers or to your podcast members That frequency of healing is what this planet needs. And that frequency of healing can only emit through you when you first anchor that and when you heal within yourselves. So I'm really, really driving this home in many different ways. Your highest service to humanity right now is to raise your vibration. And let's talk a little bit about what that does. What does that even mean? There are 3 videos on this channel I highly recommend pertaining to this topic. One is Ascension from 3D to 5D Part 1. It takes you all the way back to what Siman just talked about, the harmonic convergence, the photonic belt, and all of that. The second one is Ascension 3D to 5D Part 2. There's also one that I made on raising your vibration, but I really want to go one level deeper in that topic today. When I say raising your vibration, it is all the things that we already know, like all the things that I've spoken about in that how to raise your vibration video to attract more joy. You'll see it on this channel. It was from a while ago, like last year, I think. But really, right now, you're already aware of all that. Right now, what raising your vibration really means is dropping your limiting beliefs, harmonizing your negative ego. That is what's going to shift you. Constantly look around. What are your shadows? Where are your shadows showing up? What are your triggers? What's triggering you? Every time you look at what's triggering you and you transcend that, you raise your vibration. That is the kind of vibration raising that is being asked of you right now. The dancing, the eating high vibrational foods, the going for yoga, making sure you're in nature, all of that is a given. But in all of that, like going to vortices, traveling, whatever rocks your boat. But amidst all that, be super aware, be hyper aware of your triggers. What doesn't serve you has to go. And that is your higher service. That is your highest service. One other thing, if there are people in your life right now that are shoving negativity or fear down your throat, you don't owe them any answers. Isolate yourself in your own bubbles like Siman and I have done for the past 2 years. We're in our own bubble of bliss. And I'm not even joking, we don't like people in our bubble because we find that no matter who it is, however high that person's vibration may be, or however classy that person may be, or however successful that person may be, we find that every time we're in other people's energy, we have to go back into our bubble and work on raising our vibration. Because somehow we feel our bubble is what really helps us fly. Do you know what I mean? So isolate yourself, get in your bubble of bliss. Really be unapologetic about your time, your boundaries, your spirituality, your connection. It doesn't even matter if your husband or your wife is on a different page. You do you. Really soak that in. You do you. That is the message right now. Because when you really shift from inside and stop listening to all these narratives, because we don't even watch the news. Right now, we're in a different, literally feels we're in a different dimension. The other day at the dinner restaurant, we were laughing so hard. We literally said, if we put a video of us laughing like this, it's going to trigger the fuck out of people. Because people are going to be like, how are these people so happy? How? Because that's how triggers work. If you're in so much fear and we're in so much bliss, what happens to the human psyche? The human psyche gets triggered saying, how dare they enjoy so much bliss? But that is the ask of you, my friends. Get to your levels of bliss. Do whatever it takes. Dance, joke, laugh. You know, like whatever it takes. That is it.
I also wanted to add to that many people who are in countries where there's severe lockdowns and their freedoms are being snatched away and they're being pumped with fear that this is going to be imposed on you or that's going to be imposed on you and your freedoms are going to be taken away even more. What advice do we have for those people who are in that particular situation? You see, we've come from that. We've come from Toronto, which is a very dense city right now. It's a complete grid. And we've been through all of those limitations and lockdowns. And even in that situation, we can incrementally raise our vibration. We can incrementally choose to do things that give us purpose, give us meaning. And one thing that our guides were constantly reminding Eldora and I is that we are creator beings. So when we stop creating new things and when we just focus on fear, that's when our souls stagnate and we start anchoring a deep sadness within our hearts. So in order to really fulfill our souls, why don't we go back into that creation mode? Because creation is love. Creation is joy. Creation is expression. And when we go back into expressing the joy of our souls, no matter what that is,
I love
it
that.
could be painting, it could be writing articles to uplift the vibration of the collective, it could be making writing a song, it could be taking a guitar lesson, whatever creativity wants to express itself through you.
Yes.
That is your ticket to joy, and that's what we found. We have immersed ourselves amidst all this chaos with so many exciting new projects that we're going to be unfolding and sharing with you guys, that we are not even focused on the world stage. We couldn't care less. We really
And the
couldn't.
reason is because we know the bigger picture. We know what's happening. Everything that we know to be true and you know to be true is true. So don't let the illusion take you away from that. No, you have to have,
Exactly.
if you're wavering at the news, it just means you're not rooted in your faith. You're not rooted in your faith. That's, you're wavering. It's like somebody going, it's like a science teacher saying, okay, I'm going to go on a big, 50,000 people in front of me and I'm going to teach science, and the person doesn't even know shit about science. That's how you are if you're actually getting thrown off by the mainstream news. That may seem
Yeah.
harsh, but that's how it is. If you're rooted in your faith, if you're rooted in how the universe supports you, how the universe has your back, how bliss surrounds you, how magic surrounds you, and how you just know what's coming to earth, which is exciting as F, you guys. What's coming to earth is, it's, like Russell Peters says, it's mind blasting. It's mind blasting, seriously.
Yeah.
So bask in that, be rooted in that. Don't let every little thing take you off your path, your mission, your peace, because that means you're not rooted in your faith. You're just spreading, you're trying to save everybody else, but you're not rooted in your own faith. You're not rooted in your own faith in the universe, in the creator. So really, really, really go back to you.
Yes, and
you.
don't wait for world events to change for them to reflect heaven on earth for you, and then you'll be happy. Like we mentioned in the beginning, you have to carve your own path. You have to create your own heaven on earth amidst this chaos. You have to go within your bubble, and within your bubble you can create anything. So you have to cut cords with all outside influences that are bringing you down, that are pulling you down, whether it's your friends, your family, the news, your job. Your only job is to align your life with your highest joy and remove everything that is not in alignment with your soul's passion.
And I want to, go ahead.
That's how we create it.
And I want to give you guys a very tangible example. If Siman and I wanted to sit and wallow in despair, we could have. I had a Facebook page, Eldora Rose, with 23,000 or so. It was a very thriving page. It was a very active page. Every post was, getting 150 shares, 1,600, 2,000 views, and I likes, and I lost that page. That page was taken down because I made some post about, who, Mr. TRU dash dash. That is such a controversial topic that they took down my page. Fine, we said no problem, we'll go on my personal Facebook page. That was taken down as well because, again, I made a post about that same guy and it went, there was a lot of momentum on it. We're not wallowing about that because we are the energy. We are the energy. Seriously, nobody can take that away from you.
We cannot be stopped.
We cannot be
by
stopped.
any force on this
we are a
planet.
force. Literally, we are a
We
force.
are eternal souls who
Yes.
just live in the illusion that we're temporary human beings. We cannot be chained. We cannot be shackled. We'll keep coming back. We'll keep coming back until Earth ascends.
Because nobody, not YouTube, not Facebook, not Twitter, not Instagram, no one can take that piece away from you. And that is why we're not worried. On YouTube, we're heavily censored. Like I told you guys in the last video, every video of ours, every day, we had 200 to 500 new members in our YouTube channel. So every week, we were going up by at least 1,000. Right now, for about a month, we've been stuck. Again, being stuck is an illusion. So if we let our joy depend on the fact that our YouTube isn't growing because we've been heavily censored, and they've actually done something with the algorithms. What they've done is, for the first 24 hours, they're tricking the algorithms. So let's say there's 5,000 people who've watched the video. We get a notification on our studio site saying, oh, only 100 people have watched it. So there's a technical glitch, but that glitch has been inserted to censor us and other channels to stop the algorithms from spreading. But we don't sit and cry about that and say, oh my God, what the hell, we're being targeted. We say, you know what, there are 10,000 to 15,000 people tuned into us right now. Our focus is on them, spreading the joy for them. And those who have to find us will find us. So apply this level of freedom in all aspects of your life. Don't let anything come between you and your peace, you and your joy, you and your bliss. Really, really soak that up, because if we wanted, we have 100 million things. I'm not even joking, guys. We have many things that we can sit and wallow about. Many things. Even our money, like I told you guys, I've told you guys for 6 months now, there was a huge fund that we invested in. It was supposed to mature on March 31st. It's been 7 months now for delay. We're not sitting and waiting for that. We're saying, all right, what do we need to do? That'll come when it comes. Our happiness is not tied to external situations.
We're taking charge of our own abundance. When you single-mindedly focus on raising your vibration, you start seeing the whole world event as through a completely different lens, because you're no longer looking through the lens of fear. And you know what happens? It's very funny.
Yes.
Everything starts to look like a joke. Everything starts to look so funny and hilarious. You're like, whoa, there's still people wearing masks? There's still people buying this bullshit? And it becomes humorous because you know where Earth is heading, and you know that eventually all of humanity is going to raise their consciousness to this frequency. And when we all burn our masks, when we all throw away our chains, we're going to look back at this period and we're all going to laugh, and we're all going to just chuckle and say, holy shit, they had us.
Exactly.
They had us in their tricks and their stories.
You know, even here when we walk around the resort, we're in Costa Rica in this beautiful hotel. We were here for 6 nights, but we just extended another 3 nights because we're in love. We're like just receiving so much healing from the volcano behind us. It's the Arenal volcano. We've been speaking to the spirit of the volcano. It's absolutely gorgeous in here. Everywhere we go, we see people at night, like when we go for dinner and stuff. We stay in our room all day. We don't even want to go out. Like I said, we're in our own bubble. We have asked not to be disturbed. We've asked to be left alone. We don't want interaction with people unless we choose to interact with them. So we're very strict on that. We want to be in our own bubble because that's how our vibration shoots up. But you know, when we go out for dinner sometimes at the restaurant, every single person except us, like the employees have to wear masks. I get it because it's the rule. But all the tourists, the American tourists that are here, are all wearing masks. So they wear their masks and they come in the shuttle, in the golf cart, they come to the yoga class, or they wear their mask and they come to the gym. They wear their mask and they go to the restaurant. But you know what the most beautifully, shockingly, amazingly ironic part is? No one is asking them to wear the mask. They are choosing to wear the mask because in their frequency, in their consciousness, in their vibratory frequency, they haven't yet put 2 and 2 together, and they haven't yet really sunk in the analogy of the bird being in a cage and the door of the cage being wide open. The bird can fly out anytime, but the bird's not at a frequency that that makes it even realize that, hey, my freedom is right here. So they all wear their masks, they sit in the restaurant and they take it off. And we're talking about Costa Rica where no one's even asking us to wear a mask. I don't even own a mask. I haven't worn a mask since March. Like in Toronto, we had our own, we said we have a medical exemption, and here nobody asks you. But that's the point. Unless you raise your vibration. So using this analogy, just really soak that up. If these tourists don't have the vibrational awareness yet that they don't really need to wear a mask, there is no virus, there is no threat, they're surrounded by rolling hills of nature, right? So imagine when their consciousness raises and they drop the mask. Now use this analogy for yourself. Let's say you're at a consciousness where you already know that you don't need the mask, you don't need all of this stuff. Now imagine if you raise your vibration 3 notches up. Do you even know that there's a whole new world waiting for you that you're not yet a vibrational match to? Really, really soak that up. There's a whole new world here, and I can tell you with assurance, like I can tell you this, that every time you raise your frequency, a new world opens up to you. It's like the video game. You pass a level, oh, there's a new world. Oh my goodness, I get new gadgets. And this is what I'd like to wrap up this video with, unless you have a few more things. We're going to wrap up soon. We've been at almost 40 minutes. So as you keep raising your vibration and getting all these new tools, what you'll realize is that you'll actually reach a point. We're in that point right now, where your higher self plans things with you. We're in a state right now where we get guidance, we get assistance. Forget guidance, we're talking about assistance in all walks of our life. Like let's say before going to bed, I sleep and I'm like, okay, guides, I have this project that I need. Like I need to be connected with a perfect place, a perfect, like anything. I just give my wants to the universe. I literally just think of it, 2 seconds I think of it. And my higher self is right here. My higher self's not far away trying to reach me. My higher self's wisdom is right here. It flows in all the time. We have instant connection, instant guidance, instant support, instant help.
Instant manifestation.
And all of that is tied to your vibration.
Exactly. And just to wrap things up, heaven on earth is here. There are heaven on earth timelines, and we're experiencing them.
Yes.
And we've been waiting for many people to arise to this level of consciousness that where our reality has no choice but to shift to reflect that what you have become inside. So let's just get back to our game plan. Let's just focus inwards. Let's tune out the outside world because it's all chaos and madness. And like we mentioned before, this is all a scripted play that's meant to wake up the masses. The light workers don't need to go back and review notes of what's happening in this play because we've already know this is all a story.
And you don't need to go shouting out in the, like literally I know someone in Toronto, she put up Facebook video, this was a while ago in March or April or May, I can't remember. She had just realized that masks and all that are not needed. So she went to the beaches of Toronto and she'd scream, take off your mask, take off your mask. And she was very proud of that. But when I saw that on her Facebook, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, like that's the last thing we need to be doing. Because that makes other people put on their mask even tighter.
Yeah.
So it's like we need to just mind our own business, raise our vibration, and have a sense of finesse, have a sense of sophistication, have a sense of class in how we shove our opinions down others. Instead of shoving what we believe to be true, or this president is good, or this guy is bad, or this is not good, let us model the behavior of an awakened citizen. Let us model the behavior of a galactic citizen. Because as we model higher behaviors, that is what's going to give you more credibility for others to even listen to you. If I kept screaming at you, do this, do that, you would like unsubscribe from my channel. You know what I mean? Have the finesse and behave like a galactic citizen, and that is your service. That is your invisible service, and that service is far higher than shoving, your demands or like telling people they're asleep. Yes, they are asleep. So what's the point? You've awoken, but they are asleep because they haven't yet reached that frequency.
And
their souls, their higher self, their guides are working with them. That's not your job.
There's a huge difference between sharing our truth in integrity and standing in our sovereign power, and there's a huge difference between trying to convince others. Convince others does not even hold any vibrational weight. It does not even work. So forget it. When you share your truth, when you're not trying to convince others, others naturally gravitate because they see that you've processed all these things inside and you have something that they can benefit from.
Yes.
Then you're sharing unconditionally. I'm not trying to force anything upon you now. I'm simply saying, hey, I have unlocked some gifts. Would you like to experience this?
And if
I'm
you
just
do,
sharing my
I can
gifts
help
with you
you.
unconditionally.
Yes.
I'm not expecting anything from you in return.
Yes.
So that's the key. Focus on yourself and you become the living example of what every person wants to become. And they have no choice but to gravitate towards you.
And for those of you who after watching this video still have any amount of doubt or fear in your mind, I can assure you, in my heart, I have zero doubt, I have zero fear. Like I don't have any doubt, I don't have any fear. I'm living my heaven on earth timeline. And you know what my guides have said to me? They've shown this to us very clearly. Because we have anchored this state of frequency, this state of vibration, and this state of bliss, we have guides working with us 24/7 to pump up our lives with more bliss, more joy, more happiness, more abundance, because of how important and integral our bliss is to the divine plan right now. So basically the guides are saying there's not enough people at this level that are contributing to the positive momentum, the positive ball of energy. Even spiritual teachers are getting caught up in the narrative of the elections, of everything else, giving hour by hour updates, day by day updates. Now, some spiritual teachers have a soul contract to do that. With us, we are completely in guidance, and our guidance is saying none of that is important. It's not important. If you were teaching unawakened people, then yes, we would ask you to make a YouTube video every day about what's going on. But your audience, and I'm telling you this, your audience is people who are already at a certain finesse, a certain maturity, a certain frequency. You're not the teacher for everyone else. Instead, just work on that positive momentum, because trust me, guys, the guides are saying there's not enough people here. Even we, when we're in this state of bliss, we literally, like, we went to the hot springs the other day in this hotel. We were the only ones. And literally, Siman said to me, this is a real representation of life. Like, there's not enough people enjoying that 5D bliss. There's not enough people who've worked on their own human limitations, dropped all their shackles, and reached a certain vibration where now God is working with you, Source is working with you. So really, I hope if you have any fear, let it go, and really, really focus back on what you focus on grows. If you're focusing on the elections, if you're focusing on all these news, if you're focusing on all the bad things they're saying about your favorite president is playing a script. He too is aware of what's going on, and all of this is it's being allowed to roll out, and we all knew this would happen. Many of us psychics who can see things, we know these things are meant. The riots happen, all of this is part of the plan. Don't attach to the stories, because the more you attach to the stories by watching the news, oh, why is KLM flying in these vaccines, why is this happening, you're then attaching more and more and more to it, and you're energizing the negative momentum of the planet, because your energy is constantly feeding that. It's like feeding something. It's like watching the Exorcist movie, which is a horror movie, watching it all day, literally watching it all day, every day, and then saying, oh my God, I feel scared. I feel like there's a ghost in the room. Oh my God, I feel like I'm possessed. Of course you do, because you're constantly watching The Exorcist. If you watch uplifting videos, you're not going to constantly be freaked out like that. Exactly. So what you focus on grows. Use that in every aspect of your life, guys. We love you so much. We're in such a blissful paradise right now. We are in so much bliss. So many of you know we've actually combined our Facebook channels, because my Facebook was taken down. So our new Facebook is facebook.com/ what was it? Eldora and
We'll write
Siman.
it down here. Yeah.
Yes, it's a new one. We just made it yesterday.
Yeah.
And we're really getting guided to let this twin flame energy take over us now, and merge our individual paths. Because when we're together, this twin flame energy is very blissful. It's very childlike. It's very innocent. And that is coming back. We'll make a separate video on that. But bring that innocence, bring that bliss, bring that playful laughter back, because that is going to take you to a wonderland. It's going to take you to a wonderland of magic and bliss. And I can't wait to see you all there. I love you with all my heart, dear family. I love you guys. Stay well, be well, vibe high. Surround yourself with so much magic, because you deserve it. You deserve it. You deserve this. You are responsible for just yourself. So my dear empath, stop taking on the burden of the world. You deserve peace. You deserve harmony. Just focus on yourself. See where you're still in pain. See where you're still in grief. See where you're still in despair, and work on that. That is your service. That is your highest service. I love you guys.
We love you.
Take care, guys.